What's going on YouTube? Welcome to my channel, Money Moves with K. I am K, and today we're going to talk about cheap Zillow homes that are for sale under $10,000. Now, I know a lot of times it's very difficult to find real estate off market, but here are some on market Zillow properties that you can see. Will definitely need some work, by the way. Before I get into the video, just understand these properties, all of these properties that I'll mention and highlight today will need some work. So, and I'll give little tidbits here and there of what I kind of look for, but I discuss all of this in my course as well with the tax auction course. But for today, we're going to talk about Zillow properties that are for sale under $10,000. Let's get started. So, the first property I wanted to highlight is this property on 715 Holly Street in Summit, Mississippi. Okay, so the reason why this property stood out to me is because it's a brick home. I love brick homes. Doesn't mean that it doesn't have any issues at all. That's not true. It could have foundation issues just as well as any other material that is used to build a home. However, it appeals to me. That's a personal liking of myself. So this property, let me go back. This property is $9,500. It is a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,140 square feet. So 1,140 square feet. All right. So it's not the biggest home, but it's probably comparable to the neighborhood. So keep that in mind. This first picture that I look at, it sits on a nice lot, right? I looked up the square footage, and I'll show you where to look up the square footage of the land. But it's shy of a quarter acre of land. So it's 0.22 acres of land. So not quite a quarter of an acre. However, still a nice lot. Now, like in my last video I did of this, I looked on Zillow, looked at properties. Make sure you look at zoning, because it could afford you an opportunity to place maybe an ADU in the back, or position it so that you can get more for the highest and best use for this land. All right. So the property is not too bad in shape. It needs some work. It definitely needs some work. But I was talking to my husband. I was like, what if, somebody said, okay, I'll go in and renovate this property and either live in it or rent it out. You would need to calculate the rental rate in the area. If you are renting the property out, you would need to look at how much it would cost to actually repair this property. If you're a handyman or a contractor yourself, then this may be an easy job for you, or a job that you can do. I'll say that. If you are not, you may have to hire out. So how much is that cost? And you can see what I see. You see that the bathroom will need some work to be livable again, but livable is subjective. I say that it needs work to be livable. But for $9,500, you need to identify what are some of the issues that go along with this property. Okay. It appears to be the backyard. So not much of a backyard. It seems that the property has a setback a little closer to the property line, and it's away from the street. So you have more of a front yard is what I'm trying to say. It looks like less of a backyard if this is the back of the home, which it appears to be. I saw something what is this right here? I don't know if these are holes or what. However, yeah. You will probably look into looking at the roof and the windows, etc. So this is the home. It's $9,500. And let me show you quickly how to look at let me go back. How to find out the square footage of the actual land. So you go down here and you go under lot. So it's going to tell you the lot size. So it's 10,018 square feet, which is 0.22 acres, about that, right? So it's shy of a quarter of an acre. It also has some other information, pertinent information, such as the parcel number. I say parcel ID, you may say parcel number. It's interchangeable, meaning the same thing. I look at a parcel number or a parcel ID. It's like a social security number for a property. It lets you know everything. It gives you it lets you know everything about the property, especially in public records. When you place that in, you can see where it's located and get other information that you may need in order to proceed with a purchase if you're interested. One thing I will mention, make sure that you look at some other things that are associated with the property. Is it in a flood zone? So you need to identify, is this home in a flood zone? If it is, you need to look at when was the last flood. if you're even considering the property, if it's in a flood zone. Look at wind, any natural catastrophe that could potentially happen. You also need to take that in consideration as well. But flood zone is very, very important. I saw that the property was in Mississippi, so I wanted to mention that because, yeah, I would look for the same thing in Florida, for instance, if I were looking for property. So identify if it's in a flood zone as well. All right. So that's property number one for $9,500. Let's go into the next property that I wanted to highlight for you guys. It is $7,000 in Wisconsin. Okay, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So this property was built in 1907, and let me highlight this first. It's been on the market for 596 days. Number one, it's a tax foreclosed property. I talk about tax foreclosures, tax defaulted auctions, everything about how to get a cheap property in my course. Make sure you check it out. I'll leave a link in the description, and in the comment section, I'll pin it so you can see. We talk about what to do before, during, and after a tax auction. So make sure you check it out. But for here, this property clearly will need some work as well. You see some, I don't know if this window is up or it's broken. Same thing here. I'm not sure if it's broken. You see that they boarded up the home as well. All right. But this serves as a multi-unit. Let me go back real quick because I forgot. It doesn't say how many bedrooms and bathrooms. Let's see. It does talk about zoning though. So you need to identify whatever RT4 means in that particular area you're looking for. Need to look that up. It's an older home. Take that in consideration. And let's see. Let's look at some pictures real quick. No trespassing signs. Okay. All right. All right. So it's going to need some work for sure, obviously. It looks like, somebody tried to paint. They didn't finish the paint job, but there's more than paint that needs to be done on this property to get it up and running. Bathroom. Somebody was playing some cards. Okay. Okay. So yeah, going through the pictures, they all look pretty much the same. It will be up to you to do your due diligence to identify if this is a good property for you or not. This is a multi-unit from what I remember. Let me go back and make sure that I'm telling you guys correctly because I did see this as being a multi-unit. Yes, it's a multi-family. To me, it appears to be a duplex. And what I would do is contact the realtor for this particular listing and get more information about it to see how many bedrooms and baths on each side, because it actually does not list that here. I thought that it did. And let me see if I can get more information. But that would help to identify how many bedrooms and baths on each side to kind of get you started. All right. Okay. So do your due diligence on every one of these properties, guys. Not just this one. Every single one property, anything that I give to you, whether it be a website, whether it be a home, do your due diligence. All right. We're going to go to the last property. This is actually Mississippi again. Ironically, Mississippi has some properties under $10,000 that I wanted to highlight for you guys. So this is a property that was built in 1941. It's located in Jackson, Mississippi. And let's check it out. So, I don't know what happened with the tree here. I don't know if it fell or what. But this home is for $7,000 if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back real quick. Yep, $7,900. I always check the foundation of properties too, because you want to make sure that you're not buying a piece of property that foundation is rocky and you would need to demolish it anyway. Okay, so not saying that this is the case here, but you do want to check the foundation of the property, and you can look at those telltale signs to look at if you see cracking in the walls. I said in my last video, if you close the door of a closet or something like that, you see a gap, sometimes a large gap. Sometimes those are indicators of a foundation issue, a ball that rolls. I had a property that it was leaning to the side, and now what I do is just take a golf ball or tennis ball to a property, place it on the floor, and if you see it rolling, if you have suspicion, of course, that the foundation is rocky, or when I say rocky, like leaning or not correct, that's one way to tell. If the ball rolls extreme to the left or the right or up or down or whatever, then you might want to check the foundation of the property. But also, crawl spaces tend to give investors, I'll speak for myself, it gave us an issue. When there's a crawl space, moisture, this is in Mississippi, so moisture, it had an impact on one of our rental properties, flooring, because there was moisture underneath. So we had to get it encapsulated, and that's very expensive, guys. That's very expensive. So we had to get encapsulated so that it was a mess. The moisture underneath the crawl space. So check, those are little things that you need to check for too. I like properties with no crawl space. Now, being an experienced investor, it just gave us too many issues having space underneath where animals, we had cats under that property that had babies under there. It was all kinds of stuff because they can get down there, right? So just keep that in mind. Let's see. Definitely a lot of work will be needed, especially to the landscape of the property as well. So outside, exterior, that could be fixed. That's not a big deal. Yeah, this looks scary, but it's not that big of a deal if the trees are not uprooting the home. I see this root right here, so I'm not sure. And I see a lot of trees that, in my opinion, I would try to cut those down or off to get them away from the property. You don't want to purchase a property and have a tree fall directly on the property, right? That's not fun. And I don't know from experience because we do not mess with the trees, okay? They provide shade, but I don't need that much shade that close to my property, right? So it also depends on your exit strategy. What are you trying to do with these properties? Are you holding them? Are you living in them yourself? Are you renting them or Airbnb? What is the case here? So $7,900, that is the listing price. But of course, I would try to negotiate. So contacting the realtor and trying to negotiate. This is a fairly decent sized home, 1,210 square feet. And let's see the lot size real quick. Hopefully they tell us. Okay, so the lot size is 4,356 square feet. So not a big lot. It's again below a quarter of an acre. So not a lot of acreage, but it's a fairly decent sized home for you to kind of get started. And that's exactly what the description says. Quick access to I-220 is a great opportunity for homeowners or investors. Debt-free living, buying a home for that cheap. I honestly believe you can get it for cheaper than the asking price, especially because it's been on the market. Well, it actually hasn't been on the market that long, 20 days. But as a person who's selling a home, you know that you want to get rid of it as quickly as possible. So there could still be a deal there that you can work up. All right. That's the end of my video, guys. Thank you so very much for watching to this point. If you made it this far in the video, below said I made it. All right. Let me know that you made it this far in the video, and I truly appreciate it. Until next time, you guys stay blessed. Peace.